Start of the season, right around the corner. We're talking Auburn football. Auburn every year. This is our year. I want to be realistic with the expectations around Auburn football. When this is our year, what does it necessarily mean? What does a successful season look like for Auburn? What's really a realistic expectation? Is it to go bowling? They didn't have the best season last year. Do you want to go bowling, make the playoffs? Is it an 8-win season? Vegas has the win total at 7.5, which is, I think, pretty high. I think that Auburn, though, is right around that and could achieve it. So, Randall, when you were looking at Auburn football, looking at maybe what's a realistic expectation for this team, what stood out to you?
Yeah, when I was looking at Auburn football, I love to look at what they did last season. So 2-6 in conference, 5-7 overall. That is not the bar for the program whatsoever. I think this team has a lot of opportunity to be significantly better this year because I truly believe they're better at most positions outside the running back spot, right? You have, Keldrick Falk coming back, all SEC defensive end edge. He's going to kind of anchor this defense that kept him in a lot of games. Jackson Arnold seems to be an upgrade over Peyton Thorne from an ability perspective, we believe. I think that there's a lot of pieces on paper they added. Eric Singleton, top ACC receiver. There's a lot of pieces where this offense could be better. This defense should continue to progress how they were last season. And a lot of games for them last year, the defense kept them in the games. So with a little bit more offense and less Peyton Thorne turnovers, sorry, I had to bring it up one more time, Auburn fans. I think this team can definitely get over that 7.5 win total.
Yeah, and it's looking at the offense, like you said, losing pieces, gaining pieces. I think if you look at, losing QB1, wide receiver 1, RB1, I think that there's a better, same, and worse. They got better at a position. They got same at the position and worse. And I think they got better at quarterback. I think Jackson Arnold could have had a great season last year at Oklahoma. I think there were extenuating circumstances at Oklahoma that caused maybe not the best season for him. And it went down to a ton of injuries at the O-line, wide receiver position. I think it's a great addition. At the wide receiver, they lose Keandre Lambert-Smith. We talked about him in great length last year all the time. That's a big loss, as he makes the transition out of college football. But like I said, Eric Singleton, a running back, that's going to be a tough one to replace. But they do have Damari Alston returning. He was good when he was given touches. He didn't get a whole lot of touches last year, really as a result of the offense not getting a ton of touches themselves. They weren't that great on offense anyway, so it was harder to give your RB2 a lot of touches. But when he did have the ball, he played well. More mobile quarterback. I think the offense gets well improved, and I think that's a huge piece to what this Auburn team is going to do this year.
I think it's a massive piece, and I feel like Eric Singleton can definitely replace a lot of the production that Keandre Lambert-Smith brought, and Cam Coleman is no slouch. Like Cam Coleman kind of came into last season being compared similar to Ryan Williams. I'm not saying he's Ryan Williams. Let's make that very clear, but he's really good. He is going to probably have a breakout season. They have two really solid receivers, and you talked about it earlier. Jackson Arnold's seeming problem last season was the lack of protection. Yeah. Because when he had protection in those games against some of the group of 5 competition, the first couple games of the season, he played really well at Oklahoma. Auburn's returning their entire offensive line back this season, who played pretty well last season. So I think with the protection, the offense should be good. Really, I kind of broke it down similar to you. My honest expectations for Auburn is in 4 buckets. Number 1, you should be bowling this season. You need to get to 6 wins. Number 2, you're undefeated out of conference with 1 P4 win. So I have them beating Baylor. I think they could beat Baylor. I think fans should expect to beat Baylor. I think those teams are about even going into week 1, but that win will say a lot about what Auburn's doing this season. Even if it's a close game, I think it's a statement win for Auburn being, for all intents and purposes, back in the SEC. Number 3, you beat Missouri, you beat Arkansas, you beat Kentucky, you beat Vandy. You lost to Vandy last year, right? So at this point now, if you win out all your out-of-conference games and you beat Missouri, Arkansas, Kentucky, and Vandy, you're at 7 wins. Then there's you should try to steal 2 of these 4 games: Georgia, Bama, Texas A&M, and Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma's going to be pretty good with material, and we can talk about that when we talk about Oklahoma in length. But you beat A&M last year, so you should be able to beat them this year. And then it's Georgia and Bama, so we know what that brings.
Yeah, I looked at it similarly. I had circled some games where I was like, these are the ones that you have to steal games. Now, I put Baylor, Oklahoma, A&M, Georgia, and Alabama. And I'm just no shade to these teams. At the high level, I want to assume that they take care of business versus Missouri, Arkansas, Kentucky, and Vanderbilt. I'm going to assume that this Auburn team can do that. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that they can do that and that they're improved enough to do so. But in those 5 games I mentioned, I think 2 games to be successful in the season, 3 games to set yourself up and say, wow, we're back. And I think that those 3 games, it could be a Baylor, Oklahoma. 2 games could be Baylor, Oklahoma. It could be A&M, Alabama. You take Alabama at home. So I think that's kind of what it's hinging on for me, is focus on one game at a time, look at these bigger games and try to figure out, if we can take some of these. If you're a fan and you can beat a Baylor on the road, a Baylor that I think is going to look strong in the Big 12 this year.
Oh, yeah.
You beat A&M on the road. And let's say you take one more. Let's say you beat Alabama. That's going to be big enough to make Auburn's whole season. If you win those 3 games, that's huge. How will they do it? I think you're looking at one thing, and it sounds cliche. You have to score more. This Auburn team needs to be better at scoring. They were bad at scoring last year, and that's what needs to improve. Red zone offense was atrocious. They were ranked 130 out of 134 in field goal percentage. This team needs to learn how to score.
And you're right. That's what's going to come down to. And it's interesting when it comes to scoring, rushing the football is important. And, last year I felt like that was what Jackson Arnold was missing a lot of the time at Oklahoma. We don't know if that's necessarily going to be here at Auburn, but we'd expect, given historically what Auburn's been able to do on the ground, that Damari Alston should be able to help step up. So between Damari Alston, Cam Coleman, Eric Singleton, if this team can score, now those games against Bama and Georgia and A&M and OU are a little bit more interesting in the SEC.
Yeah, I think that this team has probably big expectations from a fan base ahead of them, big expectations on the coach from Hugh Free's standpoint. If he has another season like last season, I think that there's conversations that start or will happen.
They deserve to happen.
Yeah,
they deserve to happen.
You don't bring him in to do the same as his predecessor. You don't, you can go find some, if you want to have a 5-7 team, you can go find someone who will do it for cheaper. Who will get you 5 wins. You don't bring in someone and pay him a ton of money to not go bowling.
No.
So, where they're at, 7.5 win total, I do think that they hover around that. I see many outputs where they could win 7 games. I see other outputs where they could win 8 games. They could win 9 games this season. So I don't think it's unreasonable to think of this team achieving high things this season. But it comes down to the talent of the players and whether the coaching staff can get it out of those players. And that's where I have the question, is whether the coaching staff can achieve that from the players that they have.
I think they could do it. I got this team getting 8 wins. I can't imagine someone like Eric Singleton transferring in from a good Tech team, not wanting to, bring up the talent and bring up the value of a team like Auburn. He's not the only main piece, but I think just adding someone like that, adding a quarterback who's already has SEC experience, cemented O-line, I think they can get to 8 wins. I think so. Realistically, I say 8 wins and I say bowling.
Okay. All right. I like it. If you're listening, drop your prediction in the comments of what you think this Auburn team will finish at, whether you think it's 6-6, 7-5, 8-4. If you think this team's going to go undefeated, drop your prediction. We want to read it. As always, follow, subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one.
We'll catch y'all later.